I had 3 martinis. And then I proceeded to send a guy a "you up" text. Why? Why did I do that? This guy I've been seeing on and off for months who has told me multiple times that he's not looking for anything serious. Anyway, my little brain goes ding, 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 ding. Challenge accepted. I can change his mind.
What's up, guys? It's JQ, and in this video, we're going to take a look at another video of the contradictory things that women say and how that differs so significantly from their behavior. And stick around because I'm also going to explain what this means for you as a man and how you can apply this to your own dating life. If you want to understand female nature, you need to look at how they behave, not by what they say, because what they say will often not match up with their actions. Enter influencer Laura Ashley. She's going to explain to us why she doesn't kiss or do anything whatsoever with guys for at least 3 months into dating them, and then I'll explain why that doesn't make any sense and what you should do if you ever run into a woman like this. Let's take a look.
Kiss a man within the first 3 months of dating. No kissing, no touching, no sex. Let's talk about it. Kissing releases several bonding chemicals.
Let's start with that. No kissing, no touching, no sex. So basically what she's saying is that she engages in what are platonic friendships with men, and then maybe 3 months into it, she would decide later whether she was open to dating them. I think if you're a guy, you can probably understand that this would never work from a man's perspective, not only because men are going to be interested in becoming intimate faster than that, but also as a guy, if you've ever been friends with a woman for this length of time without getting together with her, you know that you become friend-zoned after a certain length of time.
Dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. All of these chemicals can create a high that make you overlook red flags. If you chemically bond with someone before you truly know who they are, you might end up getting attached to the wrong person. Evaluate their character first and worry about the chemistry later.
So there is some truth to what she's saying. When women have sex with a man, especially, that is the process by which they fall in love with a man, especially if you're good in bed, they will fall in love with you relatively quickly. So she is correct to say that women should be somewhat careful with who they sleep with in order to prevent, getting together and getting attached to the wrong guy. But waiting 3 months is totally unrealistic in the current age for a few different reasons. That might have worked way back in the 1920s or our grandparents' generation, when people were generally expected to wait until marriage in order to have sex, or to wait a considerable length of time before having sex. But in today's culture, men who have any skill with women whatsoever are not going to have to wait that long with women they're interested in, and they're just simply not going to wait that long to become intimate with a woman. That's way too long to take to get to know somebody without establishing if you have chemistry and intimacy between you. And so this just straight up just is not going to work.
There are guys that push for physical intimacy very early and want instant gratification. And there are men that are patient, respect boundaries, and actually want a relationship. Let men show you who they are and eliminate themselves. Is he consistent? How does he handle stress? How does he treat other people? Do his actions match his words?
Like I said earlier, this will never work because women friend zone a man who waits that long in order to try sleeping with her. And so she'll never get into any relationships with any men that she respects. The only men that would be willing to remain in her orbit are going to be kind of less assertive, let's just call it weaker men. And the reality is that she's not going to be attracted to that type of man. The other reason why this is not realistic and why you wouldn't want to play by these rules if you are a guy is I can assure you that this girl is no virgin. We can tell by her age and her appearance that she has plenty of sexual experience in her life. Sometimes women go through a phase like this where they swear off men and they swear off sex for some period of time because they've been burned by one too many men. But in my experience, they all revert to a more balanced way of dating eventually. And why you shouldn't engage with it, because essentially what she's saying is that you need to pay for other men's mistakes. She's older and more damaged than she was earlier in her life, and she wants you to pay a higher price to be with her than other men. There are other men who got access to her on the first night. There are other men who had wild, crazy sex with her, threesomes, whatever it is, and didn't have to wait or do anything special in order to obtain that. But she wants new men entering her life to essentially wait longer, more or less to pay a higher price. And she's just not going to achieve that. And as a guy, if a woman is doing this to you and trying to make you jump through these hoops, then you should just walk away because it signals that she's not actually that interested in you. Women will get intimate with you relatively quickly when they really like you. The reason for that is simply they cannot afford not to. They know that the best men don't have to wait that long. And so when they meet somebody that they're really, really attracted to, they're going to become intimate with you relatively quickly. Let's take a look at a different video that kind of illustrates that point and kind of drives it home.
Okay, update on the ghosting situation because I know a lot of you have been asking. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the previous reel where I talk about getting ghosted. It was mortifying. Anyway, the short answer is I never heard from that guy again, but he does still follow me on Instagram. So shout out. What the heck happened? Anyway, I managed to make it worse. Oh, so much worse. It's mortifying. I am the queen of self sabotage, but there's kind of a happy twist at the end. So stick with me. Basically, the following night, I went out for cocktails with the girls and I broke my cardinal rule of only ever having one martini, three. And what's the saying? Martinis are like boobs. One is not enough and three is too many.
So basically what she's saying is that there's some guy, and it sounds like she was interested in him, and maybe they had plans, but he ended up ghosting her. I didn't review the entire story, but that's the gist of it that I get. So she's feeling kind of down about that, and she goes out with her girlfriends. She gets a little bit too drunk.
I had three martinis. And then I proceeded to send a guy a "you up" text. Why? Why did I do that? This guy I've been seeing on and off for months who has told me multiple times that he's not looking for anything serious. Anyway, my little brain goes ding, 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 ding. Challenge accepted. I can change his mind. Girls, you can never change their mind. What does Oprah say? When someone tells you who they are, believe them.
So she gives a couple insights here into female psychology that are really interesting to know. The first is that as a guy, when a girl is really into you, then she will make an effort to meet up with you, to see you and be intimate with you. Hence, in this situation, here's this guy, she clearly likes him, and he's not even taking her out or anything, and she just texts him to see if he's up and see if he's basically down to hang out with her and come over to her house. That's part one. The other thing that I want you to notice is that this other guy, is basically not putting in any effort into dating her. In fact, he even told her that he's not available for a relationship. Yet, she sees the challenge and she wants to try to get him after all. Okay? What this shows is that women are attracted to a guy that they feel is a little bit out of their reach, who is putting in less effort than them. Now, I'm not saying that you should be like this guy, and I mean, it sounds like he's not actually interested in her at all. And so, he probably shouldn't be hanging out with her and she shouldn't be hanging out with him. But as a guy, even when you are interested in a woman, you want to be a little bit unattainable, at least at the beginning, because that's how the female brain works. They like having a bit of a challenge. They like feeling like the guy that they are pursuing has other options besides them, and they would be lucky to be with him.
Well, I didn't believe them. And I was in the depth of spiraling from this ghosting guy. So I just proceeded to make it worse and let this guy come pick me up from the bar, who did quickly discover that I had had three martinis, because when we got back to my house, we had another glass of wine. And then I cried. I cried in front of this guy, which is just mortifying. And I was like, why don't you want to date me properly? But really, it wasn't even about him. It was like me feeling rejected and just needing to lock something down.
I have had this experience a few times in my life, and I imagine a lot of the men watching this have as well, where you are kind of hanging out with a girl that's relatively new in your life, but all of a sudden she gets super emotional, maybe she breaks down and starts crying, and always, like she said, it's because she's hung up on somebody else, and she's trying to get over it by spending time with you. You don't want to get involved in situations like this, even if she is showing interest, because clearly she hasn't really moved on from the other situation, and so you wouldn't want to hang out with a girl who's being this emotional and drunk.
He proceeded to freak out and left. Fair call. I don't even blame him for that. That was mortifying.
And that was absolutely the right move on his part. If a girl is this drunk, not only do you not want to hang out with her, but just from a risk standpoint, you wouldn't want to become intimate with her if she's excessively inebriated and have that potentially come back on you at a later point in time and she say that maybe she didn't want to. So the takeaway from this experience is that women will go to great lengths to be with you and to spend time with you if they really, really like you. They do not require a lot of effort. They do not require you to take them out on fancy dates. So what the girls in the first video said is completely wrong. That doesn't apply. And I can assure you that this girl, if she met somebody that she was really, really attracted to, all of this advice is going to go right out the window. And we don't need to look any further than Danielle Walter. I made a video about her a little while ago. If you want to check that out, I'll put it up here on the screen. But she built this entire brand of more than 1 million followers by basically telling women to wait, to take their time, to wait 3 months, to evaluate a guy, to look for a high value man, all this stuff. And then as soon as this guy came into her life, who is an average to possibly below average guy, and he just love bombed her for a while, she immediately got obsessed with him, and they got into a relationship, and now they're engaged. Now, I don't think this relationship has any shot of lasting. And if you want more information about why that is, check out my video on the subject. But it just goes to show that women will break all the rules for a guy that they really like. So if a woman is trying to assert and impose rules on you, all that means is that she simply is not that into you. And if she's not that into you, you should not be spending time with her. You should not be pursuing her whatsoever. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, take a look at either of these two. If you'd like to stay in touch, you can join my email newsletter. There's a link to that in the description below. I also take one-on-one calls. If you'd like to book some time with me to talk about your situation, let me know in the comments what you thought about this video and if you've ever been in a situation like it. Thank you. I will see you in the next video.